Hey everybody, Chuck G Violin, and I apologize that my content creation has not been very regular and consistent, and I've gotten a little busy, and what can I tell you? I've kind of dropped the ball there a little bit. I've gotten a few questions though, and I've seen a few questions around from less experienced designers, from guys who are maybe new to designing with this new 25 version of the game. And the question is about midline bunkers and how to make them. Okay, when I say midline bunkers, what I mean are bunkers that are right in the center of the fairway. So not like off to the sides like we have over here. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about kind of how to make, center line bunkers. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw our fairway. And I always draw fairways with splines. I think splines are the best way. Certainly they're very easy, and then they're also very versatile. So let's just say we're going to do this, a nice big fairway. Ta-da. So now we have this fairway. And this is a pretty big fairway. Let's see how wide it is. Yeah, it's almost 70 yards wide. So that's a very large fairway. And if you're going to do center line bunkers, then you want to do them and leave the golfer enough room to choose which side of the bunker he or she is going to hit the ball. Okay, so for example, I'm just going to plop this down. I'm going to use the brush tool, and I'm going to make this giant friggin' thing in the middle of my fairway. All right. Probably not the best because it takes up the entire fairway, and there's really nowhere for a dude to hit the ball. Okay, now I've angled it, so I think, so a player could hit in this direction, all right? And if I were designing this golf course and I decided to put this bunker, even though I never would, I might move it back just a little bit so a player could decide to carry it on this side. Obviously, this is probably a no-go to carry the bunker. So, but then if he or she did carry that bunker and hit it over here, I would make this the best angle in at the green. Whereas if they play it safe, hit a 3-wood over into this distance, this shot would be more difficult on this hole. Okay, that being said, center line bunkers are kind of, you want to be a little careful. They're not like center line trees, which I really don't like. And there are very few and far between golf courses that have center line trees that are any good. One of the only ones that comes to mind off the top of my head that has more than one hole with center line trees or trees kind of in the line of play is Harbortown. There's, of course, the giant tree in the 18 fairway of Pebble Beach, but it's not in the way. Okay, so anyway, bunkers, you have two ways of doing it. You could do like I just did, bunker brush. Let's see now. Bunker brush tool. Let's use this one. And you could just, boom, plop it right in the middle. All right, now you have this little fairway strip here, rough around it. That doesn't look great. I mean, it looks like a nightmare for the poor, what do you call it, dude? The maintenance. Okay. Now, if, say, you were to draw a bunker with the spline tool, you will not get that outline. Okay, so that's one way to do it. Let's say you don't want any rough around it, a la Augusta National, a la some other golf course, like Royal Melbourne, stuff like that, where you want just fairway into bunker, knock yourself out. That's the way you can do it without having to do the procedure that I'm about to show you. This is how I make my centerline bunkers. I don't use them often. I'm going to be using some on a golf course that I'm working on now. So the first thing that I do is I go over here to my spline fairway. I go to edit. I go down to shape state. That's hard to say. And I put closed. Okay, so now it's still a closed loop here, but there's nothing in the middle. Now, I want a little bit of rough around my bunker, and I have found the easiest way to do that is to go to Create Surfaces. Actually, no, sorry, let's back that up. I'm going to do the bunker first. Create Surfaces, bunker. I can use anything I want, so I'm going to use brushes, and I'm going to just kind of make a bunker kind of angled, and I'm spamming A. Okay, and then we'll fill in some of the rougher edges that look weird, like this one and this. And there's my center line bunker. Okay, now I want rough around my bunker. And what I'm about to do is going to serve two purposes. That is, number one, well, let's do it first. I'm going to put the path width down to 2, spline tool, and now I'm going to spline fairway around this. You know, this is kind of negative space painting, so to speak. Now, of course, it auto-fills. So I'm going to go first, I'm going to smooth it. I'm going to go to state shaped, state, deep state, filled. No, and I'm going to make it closed like I did the original fairway. So now I have this. And then what we're going to do, assuming this is the only bunker you want in your fairway, we are going to then go to Create Surfaces, Fairway, Brush. I just used the regular round brush. And now I'm going to paint my fairway in. So I'm going to hold down the A button and just drag this guy all around these edges. Not going inside, you know, color within the lines here, people. And I'm still holding the A button down, and boom. Now I've got fairway. All right, so I'll kind of do this. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do the rest of the fairway. So we're almost done, but what I do want to show you is it's very easy to miss spots like that and like that. Occasionally you may play a golf course and you'll be like, why is there just a little blip of rough in the middle of my fairway? Well, that's why. Okay, so good. Now what we're left with is we're left with a center line bunker with rough around it. So we're almost done, but what I do want to show you is it's very easy to miss spots like that and like that. Occasionally you may play a golf course and you'll be like, why is there just a little blip of rough in the middle of my fairway? Well, that's why. Okay, so good. Now what we're left with is we're left with a center line bunker with rough around it. The reason I was saying before is this can serve two purposes is now I've got this, and let's say I want rough, but I want I want a little bit of light rough also. Now I can do secondary surface, light rough. Ta-da. Okay, so generally for center line bunkers, I don't use light rough. I use light rough on my golf courses most of the time. I'm just going to undo. But yeah. And then what you'll do is you'll just sculpt this bunker as you normally would. You know, I don't know how you decide to sculpt your bunkers. This is what I'm going to very quickly do. And maybe put this bottom part down a little bit. Because you need to be able to see it from the tee. We've talked about that before. But bang, now you have a center line bunker. Now, the cool thing is, I think I drew that. No, this is all. Okay, so this is the cool thing. And this only works in certain situations. I'm going to very quickly get rid of this fairway. Let's say I did a bunker over here. I'm going to use only one brush. Let's use this one. I'm going to mess it up just a little bit. Okay. So here's the cool thing. Since the patch a while back, I can now go into bunker settings and edit only this bunker. Nope. And basically make it flat, like so, while this retains the shape that it had. So, like, if you wanted, you know, one bunker in the middle of the fairway to be like that. Let's delete this real quick. Now, here's the trick, though. Bunker. I can then go in before I do it and kind of do this. Oh, but then you can't use spline. Okay, so yeah, you have to use shapes. Now, I spammed a bunch of shapes in here, so I would have to go in, and every one of these I would have to do. So if you were going to do that, you would want to do something like this. Bunker brush. You would adjust these settings. I'm not going to do the whole thing now in order to keep this. And then I would do, say, okay, here, this brush. Boom. Now it's done, right? And then I would go to the next one, and I would do this, and I would, you know, change all the settings, right? And then I would do this one. And then that way, if you were using multiple shapes, okay? So that's a quickie, well, maybe not very quickie, video on centerline bunkers. Just, you know, if you're going to use them in moderation. Let's not, you know, St. Andrews up our entire golf course with bunkers all over the friggin' place, all right? Use them in such a way that, oops, do not delete all. I'm surprised that's even an option. You know, and then use them in such a way that they are strategic. So like I said here, I could carry this side over here if I wanted to, or I could lay up a little shorter over here. If I lay up a little shorter, my shot in is much more difficult. If I do the heroic shot, my shot in is much easier. All right, so there's your center line bunkers. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. And if you have your own way of making center line bunkers or anything on a golf course and you want to share with the rest of the class, go ahead and put that in the bunkers as well. Drop a like. Go ahead and hit subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of content. And I'll see you guys all next time.